Yesterday, actually, there was something on to the historical note. So, just to apprise all of you that it was an accidental discovery. So, all of us are aware onto the fact that the vacuum tubes, if you have seen I don't think so, you have might have seen the vacuum tubes, but it is in a kind of like a glass chamber with having a cathode and anode, which is a vacuum, and used to heat it, one of the cathodes. So, electrons were kind of like a free electrons going to reach to the anode, so that's constitute the current. So those have the vacuum tubes. So he started the journey in 1904 roughly. So that was a kind of like a vacuum tubes era, or let's say vacuum tube. So it's basically, it was a first was a Fleming valve, I think was invented by. So that's basically diode only having a two, so it means one cathode and one anode, and this was in a place in a chamber, and this was a heating element was there onto this side. So heating element, and this was a kind of like a structure. So one cathode and one anode, and this was connected to the wires, right? And this was a heating element, so heating the metal element. And then it was on 10 around 8 approximately. So that was a vacuum base again, but it was a triode. And then all the things like all electronic, like rectification or amplifier. So what were the communication that was based during the First World or Second World War? Everything was based on the vacuum tubes. So there was a kind of like a need to go for finding out alternative, though it was said that vacuum tubes may be kind of like may drive this all electronics, right? But gentleman around 1940, so he was working, Mr. Was Professor Russell Ohl, was working into the Bell Lab. So he was working with the basically crystals, right? So he was basically working with the crystals and basically on the silicon, and he was wanted to let replace let those vacuum tubes, kind of like whether we have the diode concept or triode concept using some crystals. And so whatever the PN junction that was yesterday some put up, so it wasn't a simply, it was an accidental discovery. So that's, we say, accidental invention something. So he was working with the silicon crystals, and one day actually he was looking onto a crystal which has a crack in between. And when we expose the crystal with the light and then measuring the current, then he found out there is a sudden change into the voltage, sudden change into the jump, kind of like a voltage. So that was roughly. So then he took it to his colleagues, so Brattain, and I think Bradin, and then they somehow then they came into the concept of there is some exist of certain barrier, and maybe concentration are different on the one side, maybe on the other side is a slightly different, and they brought the concept of a kind of like a p-n junction because some defects. So purity was one of the issue, of course. So to have the kind of like a 99.9% of purity of the crystal was a challenge. So with the technology they had, so that's the how the this p injection has been invented, right? And then this is 1948. The Shockley, again into the Bell Lab. So they invents junction transistor, and then we had the first silicon transistor in 1950 somewhere. So this kind of like a junction transistor. So something like a replacement of the triode vacuum based. So that was all the diode or crystal based system. This also was a crystal based system. The another reason or another story that comes from the let's say why it was, because silicon was whether it's a silicon or germanium. So silicon would have, I have learned actually the silicon is kind of like a perfect grain boundaries. So in the sense that is we can achieve very accurate kind of like a devices out of silicon and easy to make it. So that's the reason that is stick to the silicon. And the another point is that of course it is abundant into earth, so we can process from the silica, from the sand it can be processed, you can get it, this material. So that's, and then you had the first silicon as I mentioned. So 1956 they got the Nobel Prize. So Nobel Prize was given to all these three gentlemen. So it was Shockley, Brattain, and Bardeen. And 58 was, you had this John Kilway. So that's for that he invented integrated circuit. Integrated circuit means came the idea of the MOSFET system. So integrate, so having a transistor into the kind of like on a chip, so that's give rise to the integrated circuit. So it means you can integrate kind of several numbers or million numbers or billions of transistor on a platform, on a substrate, on a platform in silicon substrate, so can make it. So that was a integrated circuit. And then you had the around 67 somewhere. So there was another event. Anybody knows 1958? What was another breakthrough, if you remember it? That year was kind of like a. How many have heard about the invention of the laser? So it was a laser breakthrough also. So people got the ruby laser has been discovered. So it was a lasering action has been put up. So laser also has been invented by my man, right? So that was a 1958. That is the breakthrough. And that's once the laser has been invented, now you can see that we look into the gallium arsenide based system because it's a direct band gap material, and then people look into the kind of like having a creating a light out of, let's say, semiconductors using a using this concept of the lasing of the laser. So then we had the somewhere I think you get it 81, you got IBM has the first PC of the calculators first. And then you had a 1989, it was again use a WW World Wide Web, like your internet has started. So that's about a brief historical note. So it was an accidental discovery, you say. So basically because this person was working with a crystal system, and that gave rise to the kind of idea of a p-n junction through the certain cracks. So he got that, okay, there is some kind of like a concentration gradient, or concentration gradient, I would say, let's say there was some kind of defects which is giving a change into sharpening into the voltage when he measured it under the light conditions. So after this, I think yesterday I stopped onto this ideal diet, practical diet. So basically, I think I mentioned to this to you as well on I and V characteristics that diode is said to be on when you are applying a voltage, when you extend voltage across the diode is equal or greater than the 0. This cut-in voltage, so 0.6 or 0.7 volt, and we can assume this as an kind of like a short circuit. So means like the resistance which is being offered by the device. Let's say if we assume the zero resistance by the contacts, with metal contacts onto the sides, then it's, we can say short circuit equivalent. So it's zero forward resistance ideally. But and if you look into the reverse bias configuration, in the reverse bias where the when the voltage is less than, so even into this region, let's say even into this region the diode is not conducting, right? So diode doesn't conduct, so it behaves as a kind of like a open circuit because its voltage is less than the cut-in voltage, so it cannot for silicon, right? For ideal diode, yes, whatever the input you give it, it's working, you get the current. But for practical diode, which is your silicon diode, so even the in this region the diode is off actually because it doesn't conduct, there is no, so it's act as a kind of like open. If you look into the when the voltage polarity is reverse, so when the polarity of the battery which is connected to the, let's say, diode is reverse, so diode is simply off, so it is something like open circuit equivalent. So it means having a resistance is infinity large resistance. So what, how do we solve actually? If we, because you can see that equation which is for the current that flow through the diode, the PN junction through the diode, it's an non-linear because it's is exponential VD over VT and then -1. So one has to solve. So if you want to, let's say, circuits, one has to solve kind of like a set of transitional equation numerically, right? So to make it life bit simpler, easier, we make certain approximation that was I mentioned here. So considering the, let's say, if you've been told, okay, this diode is ideal, which is not the actual case. In realistic, there is no ideal diode. We have the all practical diode because it's made of material silicon, so it has a certain definitely like these characteristics. But for numerical, for conducting, let's say for solving numerical examples or something, if we consider ideal diode, in that case the cut-in voltage is 0. So it means whatever the voltage you apply to that ideal diode, it will simply give you the output. So practical diode has so what this so this characteristics like so on, so which is ID is equals to IS exponential VD over VT minus 1. So how to solve this problem? So we can consider the one is because it is a slope. So it is a slope means we can find out the resistance which is seen by the current that's flowing through the device. So there will be a resistance because of there is a slope onto the curve. So 1 over slope would give you the value of the resistance here. So that's I think I'm going to talk. So we can divide, we can simplify that. Okay, this we can go piecewise linear model. Piecewise linear model means that there's a voltage drop across the diode because it's a V gamma which is going to voltage drop across the diode, the battery. So vertical line bigger one is your P and the smaller one is N. So that's a positive and negative. And then you have the resistance which is slope of the one of the slope of the curve here. And then you consider ideal because we have taken already the battery equivalent of the diode V gamma. So we just consider as an ideal. So it means this and we can further simplify it. So this model we call as a piecewise linear model, right? And there is another one simplified version where if we just assume kind of like a there is a kind of sharp increase, that's a vertical line and V gamma. So that's we can write down as an so RF is to be 0 in that case. So we can simplify it model as a V gamma and ideal diode. So depending on to the problem that we are going to solve, or let's say as per the statement of the problem, we are going to pick up the model accordingly. If it says ideal diode, we are simply using this V gamma is 0. If you say practical diode, and if resistance is given to you, the forward resistance, because we are in forward bias right now. So in that case, if the forward resistance value is mentioned, then we are going to use this one in the piecewise linear model. If it is not given, then you can use a simplified model, unless if it is. So that's depending on to the problem statement that we are going to deal. So before start, okay, so let me give you a concept of first load line, let's say. Then I'll come back to the resistance levels once again. Load line analysis. That means we have connected a diode. Let's say there's a power supply, and this in a resistor, right? And this is okay. This is R, and if I write down this as a VPS power supply, and if we write down, let's say, the current that is flowing, since it's a positive connected to the P terminal, so P and N. So it means this is a forward bias, so diode is going to conduct, and assume that the VPS is greater than the V gamma. So let's assume this. So okay, so what we can write down the using a KVL, simply VPS minus VD is nothing. This is the voltage across the diode minus VR across resistor, so equals to 0. So VPS we can write down as a VD plus ID into R. If we just find out ID from here, simply VPS over R, okay, and minus VD, okay, VPS minus, okay, minus VD over R, right? So what I mean to say here, so I'll just draw the forward characteristic at this moment. So you get a V and this is I. Right, so if VD is 0, VPS would be your ID into R, of course, and ID we can find out. So ID would be simply VPS over R, right? So that's if VD is a 0, ID simply VPS over R. So we can draw a line here. So that's the line basically. So this point is simply VPS over R, and this point is the VPS power supply. the line at intersect at the point. This point actually we call as a Q point, which is means the quiescent. Quiescent means a kind of like a, which is a still or unvarying. So the concept of the Q point actually becomes more clear as we learn into we go the transistor. But basically we require whenever we like to put up a small signal when we put up whose the amplitude is less than of 10 of millivolt. That's we always call as a small signal, a small signal analysis. So whenever you put up as a sinusoidal, if you put up as a sinusoidal input here whose amplitude is varying 10 less than 10 millivolt, so it means you are imposing a time varying component. Time varying component as is a time varying component. So the Q point, right? So the Q point, since the time varying, so the Q point you may see the things so maybe different, and maybe because of let's say since we are putting a voltage, let's say since you have voltage signal you bring it, so this is a time varying component. If you are adding it correspondingly, you will get a kind of like an output. So I'm not drawing so this is an output time varying component. So the value corresponding to the Q point, so let's say this on to the and y-axis. So this since it's a voltage, so this is we call as a VDQ, and corresponding to this is we call as an IDQ. So mean this is at one particular point. At one particular point, that's a quiescent point. The value of the voltage at the diode is a quiescent at the quiescent point VDQ, and on the left hand side the IDQ. Right, so this we call as a load line. So how going to be useful, I think this we are going to understand more on when we go into the further and solve some kind of like a numerical analysis part. So what I mean to say here, now if you want to solve it, let's say this is graphical give you this solutions, right? But one has to solve. Then if I have used the ID as an IS exponential VD over VT minus 1, and that's on left hand side. Right hand side is this. So what you see here, this is a constant, that's an equation. Now let's say this is a VD and VD, so there's a translated equation. So one has to adopt numerical analysis, some numerical some algorithm to find out the VD. But this is something like a graphical approach. So that's we call a load line analysis. So if we know the numbers, then we can estimate, we can approximately find it out the quiescent values on the x-axis. That's the voltage, as well as on the y-axis that's the current corresponding to it. Right. So since I introduced the quiescent point, so what so it means at the quiescent point, if I just find out VDQ and IDQ, I can define a resistance. I can find a resistance. That resistance we can call as an DC or static. DC or static resistance, simply that's denoted, let's say RD. It's we can find it out by VD over ID. So mean like if I'm just finding out this point, let's say since I'm taking Q point, so I can just simply write down as like this. So there is another value of that we can find it out, which we call a AC or dynamic.
Sir,
Yes.
can you please explain still or unmoving point?
So this is basically okay. So since in the Q's the point at which this characteristics is intersect by the load line. So the line actually what you see is a load line, right? Because is a resistance is there, I and V are and there. So that's the reason we call it as a load line. And that's make intersection point. This point we call it the quiescent point, which means that if I make a measurement here, this point is a fix. So I get a value corresponding to it. Since most of your application, let's say whenever do it, let's say you don't have this, but you have the kind of like a time varying signal, a time varying, let's say voltage signal you apply to the diode, let's say small. So what's going to happen is going to induce a time varying current also, right, onto its DC component. So DC component we simply identify at this intersection point, and since I'm applying a kind of like a time varying signal onto this one, this impose. So it means if this might be IDQ level, so there is a kind of like a time varying component onto the current, same way onto the VDQ, which is being added. Right, so it will be more clear when we discuss on some numerical problems, and I think it's become more significant, become more significant prominent when we discuss the problems onto the when we go into the BJT, because for BJT this is become must in terms of its operation. So this has a, suppose if I change, let's say values, is key point may be changed, right? Key point may be changed in the sense, let's say I can have this, I can have, so key point may change onto this if I operating condition change. Suppose if I'm changing the value of R, if I'm changing the value of R, I can change it, right? It may happen that it may go here. It may reach to this point where the diode may not work. So the operating condition means the value of resistor and other thing, it may happen. And to this is a very simple circuit. Just hold on. So class zone class. So same way, so this is actually, this will be more clear. So it means you need to, one has to little bit change into the, let's say, circuit. This is very simple circuit, but actually like you have multiple of, may have several resistors into the circuit, maybe several diodes into the circuit. So that kind of like a may change the condition. So may not, it may happen that this may shift into this somewhere here, may not work even. So this point, key point, actually I would say that it will be a more it'd be more clear when we solve some numerical problems, solve some problems, as well as when you go for the BJT. I'll bring it this one concept, since I need it right now for defining certain resistance value. So the tangent, let's say if I draw a tangent here at this point, if I draw a tangent, I can find out a dynamic resistance. If I draw a tangent here, I can find out a dynamic resistance. So this is a static resistance RD, VDQ of, let's say, corresponding to this value. Is clear?
Sir, in this cut, is the voltage drop across the diode, na?
Voltage across the diode, yes, you can say, or voltage VD, yes, uh, you can say, but okay, what applied, yes, you can say voltage applied across the diode. So if I just find out the voltage at this point, right, since if you are having a DC, it is fine, that's a V gamma, but when you have the when you apply, let's say, a time varying component on this side, so the voltage across the diode would vary as per the what you apply the signal.
Okay, sir.
So we can define this AC, sorry, hold on. We can define AC or dynamic resistance, which is we can calculate at the quiescent point. That's your means taking a slope of the curve. So it means I just find out, let's say, take a slope, a quiescent point here. So take a slope of this. So slope of this is simply del change into current and change in the voltage. So that's RD is the delta V d over delta ID, right? So that will be your AC or dynamic resistance. So since we know the ID is, it varies as an exponent is exponential VD over VT minus 1, right? So we can find out what we can do, since it's this, the change is not very large. So since you are doing it this, so we can find out differentiation first, or derivative of this equation we can find out with respect to the VD, and one can obtain a relation. So if make use it, like I mean to say, you just find out dID over d of VD if you do it, and then just make it 1 over this, so we can get the RD. So RD is an approximately, it is we can write down as an 26, that's a VT, specifically it comes to VT, so 26 millivolt divided by ID, so that we can get it. And another one is which we call as an average AC resistance, so which means that that you have the, let's say if you know the operation limits, so we can just find out, let's say maybe I can say this might be, let's say large signal. This we can say maybe for the large signal analysis, and this might we can say the small signal analysis. So this is basically R average. So R average is a simply change in delta V D over delta ID, and that's at the point to point. It's not at the quiescent point, but this is a point to point. So maybe this point and this point. Maybe let's say if I just define as a P1 point and this is a P2 point, so P1 to P2 change in. So this we call as a basically average AC resistance. So we'll make use when we, let's say when we solve this problem, when we solve some circuit problem, that time I think it would be the clear. So I think I have already discussed onto the piecewise. So to summarize now, to summarize this, he had the piecewise linear model, so where we just replace diode within a battery of V gamma, then here the average resistance, or we can say forward resistance, and diode, this one is your ideal diode. So this is a replacement for, let's say, for solving a simple diode. And then we have the simplified model. So simplified model means where we'll assume that the resistance of the network, let's say resistance of the network means circuit which is present. So I would kind of network, let's say, if is much larger than the RF, and the value of this R average resistance, basically it is so order of few ohms only, whereas if we have the presence of resistance into circuit is order of kilo ohms. So basically it's this average resistance we can neglect. So we simply replace with this. This is V gamma, and this is an ideal diode. So on to the characteristics. Okay, let me just will draw it. And for the ideal diode, ideal diode model. So basically you have the, this is an ideal diode. So V gamma is 0. So if we look into its characteristics, so I should draw it here. I should have made the space, I hope. V I V I V I. Okay, so this is like this. This is ideal diode. So V gamma, and then you consider slope of the curve. So that gives the RF. So this is I think for load line part. Let's say let's make a one quick simple, the same circuit which we had it. That's in your the circuit which you did for the load line. That's a one resistor, one this diode and power supply. Let's consider this to be your VPS 8 volt, and if you consider, let's say, VD, the voltage drop across is a 0.7 volt. This is V gamma, of course. And what you need to find it out, you need to calculate the voltage across the resistor, that's an output, and ID. Can we just find it out? ID, and let's say voltage across the this one. I think it's quite straightforward. So VPS is 8 volt, 8 minus 0.7, 7.3. So 7.3 would be the voltage across the resistors VR, and the same current flowing through this one. So ID would be simply IR, that will be your voltage VR, which is got a 7.3 divided by resistance value. So if the resistance is your R is 2.2 kilo ohm, so we can find out ID would be simply VR divided by 2.2 into 10 power 3. So this is basically 7.3 divided by 2.2 10 power 3. So it's milliampere. So approximately 3 milliampere. That will be the this current value. Right. So what's going to happen if I reverse it? Let's say if I reverse the diode, can we just work out? So let's means that yes, what's going to happen if I reverse it? What would be the voltage across the diode in this case? And what will be this output voltage? Let's say you need to find out voltage across the diode. Let's say voltage across resistor. What's going to happen in this case? This simple problem. This is going to be a simple problem. Try out. Please try out, and let's say this is another one. Yes. Yeah, let's say these two problems.
Sir, we haven't been given the breakdown voltage for the diode.
V gamma 0.7. V gamma 0.7. Not breakdown voltage, cut-in voltage for silicon.
No, sir, for
0.
the reverse bias condition.
Oh, okay. Do you need it? Do you need to solve for this? See, now polarity is the reverse. What does it mean? Polarity reverse means this is the off, right? Now N side is connected to the positive terminal of the battery, right? So this is an off. So a reverse bias. So this in reverse bias means this is diode. It simply is your into the off condition. So you can think of this. You can replace this as an open circuit. So this is the diode now is an open circuit. So VPS is 8 volt. So what with the, so it means there is no current, circuit is not coming, so no current is going to flow through the circuit. ID is a 0. So if I just measure the voltage at this terminal, if I put the probe at this terminal, right, at this here, so what is the voltage that would appear at here? It would be simply as an a VPS, right, which is whatever the number it is, let's say 8 volt. So the voltage from here to here is simply in a 8 volt. Right, and VR, what is only VR? Since there is no current flowing, so VR is simply 0. So VR in this case is 0, since your ID is 0 milliampere, no current flowing because of this open circuit. Diode is a reverse bias, because the diode is reverse bias. So you need to see the polarity. So it's a positive connector, so diode is in reverse bias. So it means I can treat it as an open circuit. So they can treat this an open circuit. So no current is flowing, so ID is a 0. So and ID 0 means the current which is going through this is IR is also 0. So voltage drop across resistor would be 0. However, if I just measure the voltage at, let's say, at this point, right, at the diode terminal, if the same voltage would appear, 8 volt of voltage would be appear at this terminal. So this is one. How about the second? Let's say it's problem number 2. Anyone?
So will be 0.
Yes. If let's say if I take it 1 volt. Yeah, because it's input voltage, that's true, because input voltage is less than your V gamma. So it means the diode cannot be on, it won't be conducting. So it will be simply an open circuit, so it will be 0. But if let's say if we change this to, let's say, 1 volt, if this we take it as a 1 volt. So the same voltage would appear at this point, right? It's the same way. So since it's a non-conducting, but the voltage at this would be your 0.5, but the VR would be 0. If I take it this as 1 volt, you can find out, you can just solve it by KVL. So you will get it the answer, because now diode would be conducting. So by looking into the circuit, by looking into the values, you need to identify. So this is one has to use. So there is no kind of like a straight thumb rules to design. So what you need to see and to see whether the diode
So
is
can you
first.
explain again when we take 1 volt?
So when you are going to take a 1 volt means diode is on, right? When we take a 1 volt, diode is on. So it's the same circuit. So I'm taking, let's say, so this is something. Right, this is a 1.2 kilo ohm, and this is V gamma for is a 0.7. So whenever the diode is in forward bias, so make sure if it is in a forward bias condition, if the voltage which is applied across the diode is more than the V gamma, the cut-in voltage, there will be a drop of that value 0.7 volt. If it is mentioned 0.7, it will be 0.7. If it is given 0.6, it will be 0.6. If your input voltage is less than let's say the V gamma, there won't be any, right? It will be simply an off condition. So I can say that if V is larger than equals to, let's say, V gamma, diode is, so maybe you can consider diode is on. But if V, this means power supply which is connected, if less than a V gamma, in simply diode is off. So the voltage which you are applying at the, so in this case when I say the 0.5 volt, so the voltage if I measure at this point, right, but since it is diode is off, so if it is 0.5, so let's say, let's make it next. Though positive polarity is connected, let's say if the 0.5 volt and the V gamma which is the 0.7 volt are, so since your V power supply which is here is less than the V gamma, so diode is off. So what I can do, I can just think of as an like open circuit, right? So the voltage if I measure at this point, plus and minus, so it will be simply your the voltage drop across the diode, the voltage that would appear across this diode terminal. So D I'm writing for diode would be simply as an VD is simply VPS, right? But as if I take it as a, let's say, 1 volt, this is R which is 1.2 kilo ohm, and the V gamma is 0.7 volt, right? So if this is a 1 volt VPS, so what is that? Your VPS is now greater than your V gamma, so means diode is on. What happened? Okay, so diode is on, and once the diode is on, we can assume there's a voltage drop. We can use a simplified model. Since I have taken silicon, if it is nothing is mentioned, right? For example, if nothing is mentioned, I didn't mention V gamma 0. I can take it as ideal also when the V gamma simply 0 voltage drop and simple become a, so V over R will be your simply I, that's current that's flowing, and you can find out the voltage across this resistor. Right, it's clear. So this is the one.
Sir,
Yes.
when VPS is less than V gamma, then what is the significance of V gamma in that case?
There will be, so it means now you are in a diode is conducting. So it
When
means
it is
somewhere.
less.
Oh,
When it is,
when there is a less, when VPS,
ah,
suppose the power supply, let's say battery which you connected, it is less than the V gamma, the cut-in voltage.
yes,
So
sir.
it means you are somewhere here. You are somewhere here.
So, so sir, how do we determine V gamma then?
No, we are not determining the V gamma. So V gamma is a cut-in voltage. So cut-in voltage which is required to turn on the diode. So it means you need to apply this much of the voltage at least to make the diode to be on. Now,
Okay,
if you
sir.
want to find out the how much is the voltage that would be appear at the diode, that would appear at the diode. So maximum voltage that would appear at the diode would be simply 0.7 if it is conducting. Conducting means at somewhere here. There will be a voltage drop of this much, V gamma. Now, if it is not, if it is a diode is off, if that is off, in that case, the voltage which is applied here, that would simply appear as a voltage across this terminal. Since it's off, this off means it's open circuit.
Okay, so if it is open circuit, then in the open circuit, I mean the voltage across the two terminals should be VPS,
Same as
but
what is applied here.
but inside the diode it will be 0.7.
But diode is not there. I mean, like because diode is not conducting means diode is somewhere. You are operating somewhere here at this point. It's at 0.5, so 0.5 somewhere here. So mean like you won't measure any current. So if I put a probe, if I put a let's say probe, let's say if I put a probe multimeter or something, oscilloscope. So if I put a probe here, you won't get any. If I put a probe at this point, let's say if I put a probe at this point, you won't get any voltage, right? It's zero. If I put a probe at this point, let's say a diode terminal, so you will see the voltage of around this value, but maybe less than because of the connection wire resistance. So maybe some voltage drop, but ideally it should be appear like this.
Okay, sir. So when VPS is less than V gamma, then V gamma is equal to 0.7 volt doesn't have any significance. It is just
Exactly. It's simply as an open circuit, right? So there's nothing because diode is not conducting. So the voltage drop occurs whenever diode is conducting. Only then would appear that V gamma would appear there.
and it will always be V gamma
Yes, and always a V gamma. So
until the
that's
diode
going to be.
doesn't burn.
Yes, so that's it. That's going to be a when we look into the rectification, that plays a very important role here, in the sense that if you when we look, let's say if I put up a sinusoidal, for example, if I just put up a sinusoidal instead of this DC battery, if I just put up a sinusoidal, right, and who has a uh, let's say 1 volt, 1 volt, and if I measure the output across the diode, it's going to voltage drop across. It will be V gamma. It will be only V gamma. So if I just put a probe at this point, if I put a probe at this point, it's simply a constant voltage for this whole cycle for the positive, because the diode is on and this 1 volt is the value. So it means it's getting on. So it will be on up to this point, and 0.7 is become constant. It won't follow this. But for the off circuit, when the diode is off, for the negative cycle, it will follow it. We get the output like this.
Sir, if we apply two diodes in series,
Yes,
do they add up like resistance?
yes, it will act as a. Yes, it may be because the diode has a certain forward resistance, right? So it's the
No,
same
no.
thing.
I'm asking, sir, would they add up like series resistance?
Yes, depending on the circuit. Yes, it will be in series. Then it definitely is.
So
If
then
there
V
is no.
gamma net will be 1.4
Yes,
volts V.
yes. So if I have the, let's say if I connect like this way, so 0 and 0.7 here, 0.7 here. So if I connect, let's say 2 volt of battery, or it will be simply it will be on.
Okay, sir.
So if we have, let's say this, and this was another circuit which I was supposed to draw, something like you said. Okay, let's try. You may try out. I think that's. I'll make a stop here at the point. either two diodes now, but let's say make a reverse, and then we can do with the in the same direction as well. And let's say it's connected, and this is plus 20 volt, and this is silicon, this is silicon. When I am writing a silicon, means it's understood that the V gamma for silicon we are considering as 0.7 volt, and this R value, and we are measuring output across here. So R is 5.6 kilo ohm, and to find out V output. So find out the V output, and let's say diode, the voltage across the diodes. Voltages across the diode, let's say you can say D1 diode, and this you can say diode D2. So I leave it here at this point. And then we'll continue on this. Let's say on Thursday, I mentioned there is going to be a tutorial class, and so all these problems, I think I would say suggest you that you solve by your own, and also circulate you some set of problems by Monday or Tuesday. By Tuesday, you'll get the set of problems to solve, and that we will discuss on to the Thursday. So all queries that we on this problem solving, and we are from how to tackle the problem, how to solve the circuit problem, we are going to discuss on Thursday. On to the other part. On Thursday is going to be a tutorial class. So for the groups, as I mentioned to you, there will be a group formation for the tutorial class. So the group formation means that you are going to around 8 subgroups. You will be divided into the 8 subgroups, right? And the class test is going to be on 28th of January, and the syllabus for this for the class test is till the rectifier. So we hope that we'll finish it by next Monday. The rectifier next Monday means like 20. I think this is going to be 17, 6, 15, 16, 14, 28. So by that week, 25th. By 25th, you'll be able to finish the rectifier, and you finish it before also, so it may happen. So, but the syllabus for the class test 1, it will be on the till the rectification part. Do you have any question, queries?
Sir, for those who have not tagged their roll number, will there be any problem in taking attendance?
No problem. Your attendance is saving by your name only. I was trying. It could have been better if we have the with the roll number, because it's easy to kind of like